Hello, my name is Jim Hummer from Solver. Today we're going to be looking at Dynamics GP. And we're looking at AP, and we're going to be doing a top 5 report utilizing BI 360. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to go inside of GP. We're going to validate some numbers so that we have some idea what sort of numbers we're going to look at and what we're going to build into our top 5 report. So to do that, I'm going to go inside the cards in the summary. And I'm going to go to the first vendor, which is Ace Travel. And I'm going to look at, here's a number 671327. That is the outstanding balance that we have in conjunction with that vendor. So to do that, I'm going to go into the payables transaction module. And basically what that does includes the history, open, and work in payables, and I'll explain that in a second. So it includes all the transactions. So I'm bringing the vendor to my filter and to my report. I'm bringing a document amount. So document amount is basically, as it says, the basic amount which you have within your transaction. I'm going to choose my vendor, and then I'm going to run that, and I get my 676327. So that is the same. So that's good. So I'm going to go into my period. Actually, I'm going to go into my yearly. And you see that that breaks down life to date. So this breaks down by amount billed, amount paid. So let's go ahead and see if we can replicate that. So I'm going to go here to my document type. And I'm going to expand that, and those are the same numbers. And if I go here to show totals, I still get my 676327. So I'm going to go back into GP, and I'm going to go in actually to a fiscal year. And I'm going to look at 2013, and then calculate. And I have a 710888 and a 4100. So let's see if I can get those numbers. So I'm going to go into my composer, and look at my document date. One of the things you have to decide if you have document date versus general ledger posting date. And we'll kind of cover that a little bit here in a while. And I'm going to go here into my fiscal year 2013. I'm going to run this. And there's my 710888 and 1400. So my numbers are the same. So I'm pretty confident that those numbers are the same. And I can move forward in my report. So some reports you can do in the report composer, and you can bring those over to Excel. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and then just start in Excel by itself. So I'm going to go into the purchasing. I'm going to the payables transaction. As I said before, basically payables transaction is all your payables. See, I have the open, history, and work. So work is when you enter a transaction and you do not post it. Open is when you enter it and you post it, and then if you enter it, post it, and then you pay it, otherwise you cut a check, then it moves into history. So those are the 3 types of transactions you have within payables. So I'm going to drop in my vendor, and I'm going to expand my dimension and have my vendor name. Notice you can also do combined if you want. I like to do them separate, but it's all personal taste. And I'm going to drop in my document amount. So now I have my parameter. I'm going to choose my vendor and then run this. And you notice those are the same numbers I was looking at before. So that's life to date for this vendor. So I'm going to go and make some small corrections here. And then I'm going to go into my row, and I'm going to do my filter like I did in my composer. So I'm going to go here and drop my document date. And I'm going to go and to do my year, and that's my 2013. And I'm going to run this, and this is going to give me my 50788. Now if I want, I can drill down on this, and I can see the transactions. So here, as we discussed before, here's my transactions, here's my history, there's my document amounts, and there's my GL posting date. And, oops, I must have missed here's my GL transaction date. There's my document date. So those are all 2013. You also notice that I have some negatives in there. So I have some payments. So basically, let's filter out the payments. So I'm going to go back here to design. I'm going to click on my row. I'm going to go up here to my document type. And I can go here, and before I chose which ones I want, so I'm going to choose payments, but I'm going to go does not equal. So this will show me everything but payments. So now if I run this, it gives me my 710888. So this is just invoices. So I can verify that through my drill down. And there we can see that those are just invoices. So basically I have the data that I want. So now I'm going to do my top 5. So to do that, I'm going to remove my vendor. Okay. And I'm going to go up to my limit and do top 5. So now if I run this, this is going to give me my top 5. You notice that it doesn't basically give my top 5 by amount. It just gives my top 5 vendors. So what I want to do to get my top 5 vendors by amount is I go into my row here, and I go into what's called grouping and sorting. So as I drag and drop, it expands by my fields that I drop into there. And I'm going to go into my document amount, and then go and have that at the highest level. So it's going to group by my document amount first, and I want that to be descending. So I'm going to have the highest first and then descend. So now if I run this, it gives me my top 5 by 2013. And that's as simple as do a top 5. So I want to expand on this a little bit more. And I'll make this a little bit bigger and format it. So here I have this hard-coded in my filter for 2005, for 2013. Let's say I want to do this for a number of different fiscal periods and such. And I want to make this the parameters. So what I can do is go inside of here and create a parameter through the wizard. And I can just use date selector. That's the best one to use. And then finish. And that produces what's called document date. So what I can do now is if I go and use what's called period syntax. So this is in the forum. We have that. You also have a white paper inside the support site that you can get to explain some of these. But this is basically what's called period syntax. And what this does, it goes from year start with the transaction date to the transaction date. So I'm going to copy this and then put this into my report. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to copy paste that in. Instead of transaction date, I'm going to type in document date. It's important to spell this right or you will produce an error. Okay. So now if I run this, it produces a parameter. And actually, I have the doc type. I don't really want that. To do that, I can go up here into my report parameters, and I can just delete that. And also, I can delete my vendor too. So now if I do this, I just have my document, and I can go up here to 2013. and go to December at the end of the year, and then run that, and that gives me my top 5 for 2013. Okay, if I switch this to 14, it gives me 14. And I can drill down and validate that. So here's 14, and let's go look for the date. There's my voucher, and those are my document numbers, 2014. Okay, so next step is that I want to do both. I want to do 13 and 14. So I can do row 8, and I can copy, and I can paste. Okay. So on row 8, my period calc basically gives me my year start for the year I choose and my parameter. So I also can do another one in my row 12. So I want to do the next year. So I have an example of that here in the forum, and this basically is a quarter start, but I'm going to convert that to a year start. So I'm going to go into my report, and I'm on my row 12, and I'm going to copy paste this in here. Instead of quarter start, I'm going to go ahead and type in here year start. Okay, and I'm going to change this from date to document date, and then here I'm going to put in document date. So what does this do? It says give me my document date from the year start, add days, and I want to go plus 365 to my document date, add days, 365. So if I chose 2013 12/31, it's going to give me row 8 2013, and row 12 will give me 2014. It did take a little bit of practice to do the period syntax, but they're very powerful because you can control the data that you have within it. I'm going to click OK, and I'm going to run this, and I'm going to change this to 2013. So my top row is 2013, and my bottom one is 2014. So we can verify that, and we can drill. So this is my top one here, and those are 2013. And let's do this one here, and I can drill down, and these are 2014. Okay. So I can keep on doing that, but basically I can go ahead and then have this as my top 5 report. If I want to do top 10, I can just change my parameter here and do a top 10 report. So instead of a 5, I can make that a 10. Let's go ahead and do that. And my first row will be top 10, and my last one's a top 5. So that completes how to do an AP report using Dynamics GP and AP, and then also using BI 360. Thank you very much.